Welcome back to CBS This Morning. We are hearing from Breonna Taylor's boyfriend for the very first time since she was killed by Louisville police back in March. Kenneth Walker is his name. He was in Taylor's apartment when police barged in with a search warrant and shot her. They were looking for drugs at the time but did not find any. Walker is suing, claiming police misconduct. Now, none of the three officers involved in the raid have been charged. Jericka Duncan spoke to Walker's attorney about this case. Jericka, good morning to you. A lot of people have been wondering about Kenneth Walker. How's he holding up?
Not good, Gayle. You know, he said he is still heartbroken over the death of Breonna Taylor. And as you may recall, he was originally charged with attempted murder of a police officer because he fired one shot, believing that police that night were intruders. Now, that charge was dropped, but it was dismissed without prejudice. What does that mean? It means that technically Kenneth Walker could be charged again with the crime.
My life changed forever in the early morning of March 13th.
Kenneth Walker breaking his silence, announcing his lawsuit against Kentucky's Attorney General, Louisville's mayor, and the entire Metro Police Department.
I was raised by a good family. I am a legal gun owner, and I would never knowingly shoot a police officer.
Walker's attorneys say he was standing his ground under Kentucky law and should be protected from further prosecution. They also believe Walker was wrongfully charged with attempted murder and that law enforcement officials violated his rights.
It's just more evidence of the disparate treatment of African Americans in the criminal justice system, right? Less than 2 hours to charge him on March 13th. But these officers have had about 6 months, and they still haven't charged.
The night Breonna Taylor was shot and killed by police, Walker claims officers burst in without announcing themselves. He says he assumed it was an intruder and fired one shot, prompting police to fire back. 8 bullets hit Breonna Taylor.
That was a very reasonable assumption on Kenny's behalf, which is why he, after several times of asking and no one responded, he grabbed his legal weapon.
Last week, Jamarcus Glover, Taylor's ex-boyfriend, was arrested on drug charges. He was also arrested the night Taylor was killed by police and was the subject of the investigation that led police to raid Taylor's home.
There is no evidence of any drug transactions ever or any involvement in the drug trade at Breonna Taylor's apartment other than her ex-boyfriend visited her there.
According to this document leaked on social media by Taylor's family attorney, Glover was offered a plea deal last month in exchange for naming Taylor as a co-defendant in a drug case. The lead prosecutor, Thomas Wine, issued a statement saying the document was a draft that was part of pre-indictment plea negotiations and Taylor was never a co-defendant with Glover. The prosecutor later directed Taylor's name be removed from the final plea sheet, but her address is still listed in connection to the case.
The only thing they do show is that they will do anything to try to smear her in order to justify this police shooting.
Walker's attorneys claim the bullet that hit one of the officers likely came from another officer and not Walker. They said they won't know until they see the ballistic report, which the state's attorney general addressed on Face the Nation.
We do have that ballistics report. We will be meeting with the FBI at the beginning of this upcoming week to have a painstaking review of that information.
Walker and his attorney say they will not let up.
For her and those that I love, I can no longer remain silent.
One officer involved in the raid was fired. The other 2 were put on administrative leave. The mayor's office says they have not seen the lawsuit, therefore they will not comment at this time. And we're still waiting to hear back from the Kentucky Attorney General's office as well as the Louisville Metro Police Department.
Boy, Jericka, that's an interesting maneuver to allegedly try to get Breonna Taylor named as a co-defendant in her ex-boyfriend's case. Thank you very much, Jericka. That's very, very ugly. But, you know, the name Breonna Taylor is only growing louder. Calls for justice in her case are only growing louder in all avenues of life.
Yeah, a big part of this is qualified immunity. It's this doctrine in the law that makes it harder to charge an officer, even if that officer is seen as acting outside the guidelines of their department. So they can be fired, but not charged. But we'll see where the investigation leads.
The case isn't going away.
Yeah. All right.